Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be working on my Douglas firs. Here's a look at the Douglas firs. I never intended this to be a forest. I just planted all the trees that I got from Leszek in this pot to recover. And for the first, I think, 3, maybe 4 years, I just let them recover. The growth wasn't very strong. And then last year, for the first time, I did some pruning on them. You can see at the top of this tree, I cut the top off, and it reacted very well. I got a lot of budding coming out on the trunks, some new branches and that. I also reduced the height of this back tree here. I took a cut off of here, right here, and again, it also back budded quite strongly. So there's 3 trees in this forest that are alive. The one smaller one over here didn't make it after collection. It's too bad. It was a nice size and had a lot of lower branches on it. However, the old one here, you can see the old bark on this one. Ancient old Douglas fir. It survived, and then the 2 tall ones also survived. So today I'm going to prune them up. There's lots of vigor in these trees. If we go and look at some of these branch tips, right here, you can see at the end of the branch there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buds, maybe 7, and they're really fat. So that means there's lots of vigor in the trees, which is a good time to work on them. You don't want to work on these trees if the buds are feeble and weak looking, and you know, maybe there's only 1 bud at the end of the branch. Here's a branch, for instance, here that has 1 main bud. I think there's some smaller buds surrounding it, but yeah, you've got to be careful on branches like that. They're less vigorous, and then the ones with all the buds all over the tips, they're good and vigorous and strong, so you can do more work on those and less on the weaker branches. My next step is to come up with a plan for each tree, how I want to style them, if I want some tall and some more compact. So let's have a look at each tree and I'll discuss my future plans for it. I'll start with the old tree here, the thickest tree, but not necessarily the tallest. So you can see it has fantastic old character to the trunk. There's some dead branches here. They were cut off when it was collected. And it kind of comes up, it looks very old, and then I've got this younger top to the tree that comes way, way up here. And it's not so old looking. I think I would like to reduce the height of this tree. I don't think it needs to be that tall. So I was thinking I have a lot of branches right in here. And I think that would be a good spot to kind of reduce the height, taking the whole top off the tree. That might give me more back budding down lower on here, so I can get some more branches, making the tree even more compact in the future. So I think that's the plan for that tree, is to reduce the height and bring the branches in more compact if possible. Now it does have a few low branches that are very spreading. I did prune it off here, and I've got some back buds, so if I wanted to reduce that back, I could do it. So I've got to decide, you know, do I want these low, wide-spreading lower branches? I've got another one back here. Or do I want them a little more compact? The other trees, I think I'll have to rotate it around. We'll look at them from the back. So there's a tall one here, and that's the one I cut off last year. So I think it's a matter of a little more reduction on it. I got really good strong growth in this section, so I could probably take the top off there. It's also very tall. And then this younger one here, you can see the bark is very smooth. It has a few lower branches. And again, I think, you know, I've got some good leaders here that I could take the whole top off that tree. Again, it's just too tall and skinny. Even if I want to make, you know, my goal was to make a sort of a tree in the style of the Big Lonely Doug, a big tall Douglas fir standing all by itself with just a few, you know, a tuft of foliage at the top of the tree, and that's about it. So even if I want to do that, I think these are too tall and skinny. So I think, you know, if this was Big Lonely Doug, I would still want to reduce it back to get it more in proportion. Because, yeah, Big Lonely Doug has a big, thick trunk. So that's, I think, the plan for the trees. I think the bears will stay, and it will stay as a forest, at least for another year anyway. I can't see repotting them yet. I don't think it's root bound or anything. I don't see any problems with watering. And the trees are nice and healthy. And I think, you know, another year of growing in this pot is in order for them. To reduce the height on these trees, last time I just cut it off square. And I didn't really get, you know, a whole lot of vigorous growth just below that cut point. So I'm thinking this time I will leave a stub to create deadwood, so it's kind of like a deadwood top on the tree, and see how it does. So let's get to work. I think I'm going to start with the taller trees and work my way towards the old one here. I've got my ratcheting pruners from Ironwood Tools that Tom sent me. Thanks, Tom. And I'm going to work on this tree out front first. I have some really good leaders here that I could prune this entire top off and start growing it from here. I think I'll do that. Now this one, yeah, so I think I'll just, I'll leave a stub. I've got a live branch here, so I'll prune just above that. So here I go, cutting the top off this tree. Like that. Smells nice. Okay, so that's got this tree pruned back somewhat. The next one, I've got the big kind of leaning one out the back here. I've got a lot of growth here. So I've got to decide where I want to prune that one. I think got a lot of good whorls right here. A lot up here. I guess I could pretty well reduce it anywhere. Yeah, I think, you know, anywhere along here I've got all kinds of strong growth. So I'm looking for some growth that's balanced. I've got growth out to the left here, growth out to the right here. So I think probably somewhere up here would be pretty good. So here I go. I'm going to go right here, cutting the top off the tree. A big cut coming up. Here I go. There it goes. I can count the rings and see how old this tree is. Okay, let's see here. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. About 20 or so. 20 or so rings. So the tree's about 20 years old. Here's a look at where I cut this tree down. So I cut it off here. I've got a branch here. I'm wondering, you know, this is sort of a natural leader. I wonder if I should cut it on the angle there, and then this will straighten up over the years. I think I'll do that. Rather than leaving a stub here, I'm going to go for more of a flush cut. So here I go. Like that. I think that'll look better in the future. Now, I would like to reduce these branches back if I can on this leader. So let's have a look at those. Here is a look at the leader on this tree. So it comes out and it divides into two here. I've got good strong branching on this one, and it's fairly close to the trunk line. It's not as sprawling as this one. You can see this branch goes all the way out to here before there's growth on the tip. So I can't cut it back. The closest I could cut it back would be taking this leader off, having it divide from 1 to 2, but you can see it's still really, really long. So I think the better choice is to have this as the leader and remove that secondary one. So I'll do that. And this time I will leave a stub. I don't want it dying back. So here I go. I've taken that leader off, so now I'm left with this one. And then I'm going to try and prune these back too. I've got some shoots back here. They're a good backup. I'm going to prune the top back, so I think I'll take it back to this branch here. So I'll leave a bit of a stub here to there. This one I'll take back. There's a branch here, so I can take that back to here. Redistributing some of that energy back into the trunk, hopefully. And then I've got a branch coming off the side here. It comes out, divides into two. They're pretty long. I'm going to prune them back. Sort of a Hail Mary cut into the needles. The needles look really healthy here. So the chances are this branch will survive that pruning, and I'll get some back budding in this area here. That's the plan anyway. I've got some deadwood here. I'm just going to trim it back a little shorter. I don't need it that long. Here's another whippy branch down here that I have a stronger branch developing underneath it. You can see this branch is really weak looking. I'm wondering if I should replace it totally with that branch that's underneath. Probably. I will. Alright, here it's gone. So I'm trying to get this tree more compact. Now off to this side I have a really strong branch. So I've got this strong branch, and then just kind of underneath to the left I have another strong branch. I can prune the tip off here. It comes out, it divides into two here, so I'll take the tip off like that. This one, it comes out, I've got shoots here and here, subdivides here. So again, I can take the tip off, and I think I'll take it off right here. Pretty major cut, but it's certainly going to help the tree, eventually bring it in more compact. Here's one. This branch comes out. I've got a shoot here, strong shoot here with multiple buds at the tip. So I'm just going to cut about halfway in the new foliage from this year. Cutting it back. This one too, I'll just prune it back a bit. So deadwood here I can cut back. So I think I'm getting this tree quite a bit more compact. There is this branch down here that's kind of needs some more reduction, I think. Tough call. I have a shoot back here that I can reduce the length of the branch back. I think I will, because I have another shoot back in here. So I'm going to take this one off here, taking that tip off. And then this one, it's very healthy looking. I'm going to reduce it back, a Hail Mary cut too. Kind of getting that branch a lot more compact in here. I think that's going to be good. And I think that's all I can do to that tree. I hope you can see that the tree, it's just a tree. It has a couple of branches here and the leader up here. So it's a lot more compact now. Here is a better look at this tree. So you can see the apex up here. It comes down. There's some branching coming off it here at this level. And then it's bare all the way down to the base down here. So, not a very complicated tree, but it's definitely reduced back, trying to get it more compact. So next I'll work on this, older one. You can see the base is starting to get quite old looking on it. It's got a lot of scarring. I don't know if that was rubbing on another tree or deer or what it was, but it's got a lot of scarring on it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I've cut it off here, leaving a bit of a stub, and I've got some good branches in that area. So I think I just want to bring them all back more compact. You always want to get your trees as compact as you can get them, because it's easy to grow a tree out wider if you want to, but it's very hard to bring them back in, bringing them compact closer to the trunks. And a lot of these Douglas firs, they kind of grow like a Christmas tree in a triangular form, and you know, the growth is pretty close to the trunk. They're not like, they don't have huge umbrella canopies on most of them, typically. So that's why I'm trying to bring them all in compact to kind of make them look like they're big brothers and sisters in the ancient forests. All right, let's have a look at this second tree I'm working on, see if I can prune it back any further. So here's a branch. I have got, it comes out, I've got a little tiny bud here, I've got a branch here, I've got a bud here, and some foliage at the tip. So this branch isn't really vigorous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prune it back here and here, taking some vigor out of the tip and hopefully activating this growth back in closer to the trunk. That's the plan. At the apex here, I've got lots of vigorous shoots right close to the trunk. I don't need this long branch coming out here, so I'm just going to prune it off, and I'll develop these branches closer to the trunk line there. This one is also very vigorous. You can see there's 1, 2, 3 buds at the tip. I'm also going to remove those. Just snip the buds off, keep the branch, and hopefully all that energy coming up the tree will go into creating more back budding. There is a branch here, a couple of branches here, all coming from the same spot. I'm just trying to see what's going on here. A bunch of dead needles in there. Yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches all coming from one spot here on this tree. I don't need 5 branches coming from one spot. I need 1 branch. So I'm going to pick my best ones. Here is a look at that junction where all the branches are coming from the one spot. So I've got to pick, you know, my 90 degrees to my trunk is this branch here. All the rest kind of come off at an angle. So I've got to look at the branches around that area and figure out, well, which ones am I keeping and which ones am I removing? The ones I'd like to reduce or remove are the longest ones to get the tree more compact. So you can see on this long one, I've got a shoot back here, I've got a shoot each side here, one here. So I could definitely reduce this branch back, and I will. I'm just going to take some off the tip. And that should activate these. It'll keep sap flowing to this branch, and then these will strengthen up, and then I can reduce it further in the future. These are new shoots here coming out. Again, you know, I have so many branches growing in the one area here. I've got to pick and choose what I want to develop. It's a tough decision because if you look here, I've got this one branch going on top of the other. So I've got to pick which one I want to keep. This one has some good growth close to the trunk and it's thicker, so probably that one, but you know, branches in the apex tend to thicken up, so sometimes the skinnier one is the better one. But this branch comes off the trunk line very nicely, this one doesn't. It kind of comes off the other branch, so I'm going to remove this one. So here I go. That one's gone. This is the better branch. Now, what has that done for me? It's opened up that area. I've got a branch coming off of that branch. I'm just going to take, it divides from 1 to 3 at the tip. I'll take the middle one out, keeping my Y-shaped division. I'm going to reduce that branch back. You can see it comes out. I've got branch here, branch here, branch here. Nothing out the other side of the tree, which is a bit strange, but so I'm going to take off this one. It's kind of thick. I'm going to remove it totally, like that. And then I'm going to come back. I've got a shoot here. That could be my new apex. So I'll develop this as the branch leader. So I'm just going to reduce this back to here and here, keeping lots of sap flow to this tip, developing this, and then later on I can cut it back to that as the leader of the branch. Now, there's another branch here that comes off at a weird angle, so I'm going to remove that. That's gone. Also this one, it's gone. Just coming off the trunk at a strange, almost 90-degree angle. It doesn't flow. The rest are okay. I've got two upright ones here and then this horizontal one. So, you know, maybe these two upright ones will develop. I've got this one at the back. Maybe this one can go eventually, or the back one can go. We'll see. But I've got some choices for the future there, which is always good to keep options open. You know, the more branching you have, the more you have to choose from in the future. If you reduce it down to like 3 branches, well, you're stuck with 3 branches. Now there's a piece of deadwood here coming up. It's too long. I'm going to reduce that back. I'll use the ratcheting pruners because sometimes this deadwood is pretty tough. There. That's gone back. So below that deadwood is another branch, a living branch. And it kind of sprawls out the front of the tree here and needs to be brought back. So I have a lot of branching coming off it way back here. So I'm going to do a reduction way back to here, taking the whole tip off that branch. That gets it more compact. I'll reduce this division here from 1 to 3 down to 2. I'll take out the middle one. This branch coming out, take it back. There's one here that also divides from 1 to 3. I'll take out the middle one. Okay, so that's getting more compact. You can see how compact that tree is now, both of them actually. It's looking quite nice. I've got 2 of the 3 trees pruned up in the forest now, so I'm going to move on to the oldest tree in the forest and prune that up. So the big cut will be taking height off the apex. And do I really need to do that? Yes, because you know, I've got this diameter trunk and it's really old and twisty, and I think height, chopping it off here, will really suit the tree. It'll yeah, make it look older rather than, you know, tall, and you know, these branches are very spreading. They're not very compact, not very miniature looking, so I think it's really going to improve the tree, reducing it in height, trying to get more branching down lower, and developing it as a more compact tree. I'm having a look at the tree, making sure there's enough strong branches, if I do cut the top off, that the tree will survive nicely. I think there is. There's branches here and some at this level. And I'm thinking maybe keeping these ones and we're cutting it off here. It's a little high, but I guess I have enough strong growth at this level. I think I do. All right, yeah, I think we'll take it right back. Okay. Big cut coming up. All right, here I go. I have made my decision. This is where it's going to get cut at. It grows in whorls, so this is my lowest whorl. I'm going to take it off towards the top of this whorl. So here I go, a big cut coming up. Timber. There's the top off the tree. Holy. Oh, there's a branch in the back I gotta remove too there. Okay, so that really reduced the height. I think already it looks better. There's a look at the oldest tree, and I think it looks much, much better at that height. It looks a lot more realistic, that's for sure. All right, so next I want to bring it in more compact if I can. I'm going to start on this lowest branch here. So it comes out very horizontal to the ground, and it's very long. I don't think you'd see one in nature that long. And I have good growth here, so I can reduce it back, and I will. I think it'll make it look more of a miniature tree. So I'm going to leave a stub for dieback, so I'll come back here and prune that off. So just like that. And then I can develop this. Maybe I'll even get more, branching back here, which would be nice. The other long branch is here, and it's very long too. I don't have any good branching until here. So I can reduce it a bit, but not a whole lot. So I can take it back to about here safely, like that. Well, it's as compact as I can get that at the present moment. I've got my two lowest branches. There's one out the back here, which I don't think is alive. Oh, no, it is. It has a tuft of foliage at the very tip, so I'll leave that. I can't do much with that. This one, I mean, it's not real strong, but I could prune it back a bit. Let's do that. I'll take the tip off, like that, keeping it fairly strong still. Then, I don't think I have any living branches until I come up to here. And then I've got some shoots coming off this branch very close to the trunk line, which is good. So I could, reduce it back pretty far. I've got, other than the ones very close to the trunk here, I've got a bud here, one here, one here. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to take it in steps. I'll take it off the tip off, and right here, like that. And that should, stimulate more growth back here, and then I can eventually reduce this branch maybe back to here, hopefully get some more growth on this so I can kind of get a flowing branch line. There's a branch growing up here. It divides from 1 to 3. I'm going to take which one will I take off? The inside one off. Like that. Keep it kind of fanning outwards. Can't do much with anything else in that area. Well, I could, at the tip of this branch, I've got it divides into 3, so I'll take the tip off of that. It's good and vigorous looking. The rest isn't, so that's about all I can do. Coming up the trunk line, I've got these shoots here. I'm not going to touch these because that's kind of going to be the branch structure of the tree eventually. I just want it to strengthen up and grow. So I won't touch that area. There's one out the back here that's quite long. I've got some buds here. So I think I'll just take the tip off here. Keeping it quite vigorous. Maybe here. And that's about it. I can't do a whole lot more, I don't think. Maybe this one back a bit. You can't, these weak branches, you just can't touch them because there's nothing back budding here yet. If they had back buds here, then you could prune it back. But when a branch is weak, you just leave it alone. Hopefully, it's got sunlight, it gains strength, becomes more vigorous, starts back budding, and then you can reduce it back. Okay, so this division here, if you look, the trunk line divides, and this is all deadwood here. It's kind of like I've got my main trunk, my branch, and then deadwood, and it kind of divides from 1 into 3 here, which is a bit of a not so great, but it's also nice deadwood. Could I reduce it back a bit, maybe? Suppose I could. What I will do, I've got this dead tree behind here. I think I'll reduce the deadwood on that. This is my dead tree here, so I'm going to prune it to a conical form, keeping my deadwood but just trimming it back. Take the top off here. I think that's got it a little more compact. It doesn't interfere with the tree beside it. I'll just take some of that deadwood back too. Yeah, I think that's about all I can do. Yeah, this deadwood here, I'm going to leave it. I could break it off, I guess. It's so old looking, it's really quite cool. It's too bad it wasn't alive, but oh well. Okay, let's step back and have a look at it. See if I can do anything more with it today, or if that's about it. Here is a look at the forest now. So it's definitely more compact. You can see the individual trees more now. I think it's looking better. I still don't think this will be a forest composition in the end. I think they'll be separate trees. I do really like the main tree here. It's very old and ancient looking. It's a great looking tree. The other ones, well, at the moment they look a bit windblown, don't they? But they could be replanted vertical and styled to look like an old growth tree, hopefully in the future. At least they're a little more compact and the foliage is a little closer to the trunks. So yeah, I think all three trees have taken big steps forward today. But you know, they still have a long way to go. And Douglas firs don't normally grow in this part of Canada, so they're not really suited for this environment. And you know, they grow naturally out in British Columbia where it's warmer. It's more humid, they get more rain. So I don't know how successful I'll be at growing Douglas fir here, but I'll try my best. And you know, I miss them a lot, I water them a lot. Most of the year they're in the greenhouse here until the warmth comes in summer, and then they go outside. So I'm hoping, you know, by doing this, I can keep them healthy and vigorous and make progress with them towards the future. My big cuts to the top of these trees, they're not bleeding. And that shows the trees are pretty dormant. I think I will seal it with the rubber cement while it's kind of dry like this. That might prevent a lot of sap oozing out in spring and dripping down the trunk line. So I'll just get out the rubber cement and seal all my my cuts. All right. That should work. One here. And then I have my big cut to this tree. I'll make sure I seal that up. Now, did I make any other big cuts? I guess one here. Put a bit of paste on that, or glue. And I made a cut to a branch here. That was dead. Well, the rest are pretty small cuts. I think they'll be okay. All right, that's got that all sealed up. We are getting some warmer temperatures outside now, which is nice after that cold winter storm we had. The temperatures are generally above freezing. So in the greenhouse here, I just have my heater on low. And inside it is 20.5 degrees Celsius. Outside it is 9.7 degrees Celsius, or if we switch to Fahrenheit, 68.9 degrees Fahrenheit inside and 49 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So yeah, pretty warm temperatures, and 61 relative humidity indoors here. So yeah, the plants are definitely getting spoiled in here. It's kind of a warm day for them, but they won't break dormancy. It's too dark, and it's, you know, it gets cool at nighttime. Well, Christmas may be over, but it sure smells like Christmas in here with all these spruce cuttings. So there's a look at what I've taken off today. Big chops. And then I've got some on this side also. A bunch of branches that I removed too. So a lot has come off this forest today. It's changed significantly. The warm weather is also bringing rain in today. So it's just started raining now. With all the snow melting off the roof and a little bit of rain now, I've managed to collect enough water to refill my rain barrel. It was down, getting close to half empty or half full. And now it's almost topped up. So I'll keep working on that, topping it up so I have all my water reservoirs filled for the upcoming winter. I've made big changes to the Douglas firs. The forest looks quite different. That is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.